Today, in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation, and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today, our topic is role of youth in Reliance India. राष्ट्र जीवन के लिए देशवासी हम जिए, विश्व वेल को छांटे तथा नित्य अमृत पिए। पुत्र पुत्री हैं सभी हम पूज्य भारत भारती के, इनके लिए ही सब सजाएं थाल पूजा आरती के। मिलके चलें सब ध्वज प्रगति का हम लिए, राष्ट्र जीवन के लिए देशवासी हम जिए। चेतना हो राष्ट्र की, अब वंदना हो राष्ट्र की, प्रगति पथ पर चल सदा ही अर्चना हो राष्ट्र की। स्वार्थ में परमार्थ को सर्वदा सब जन जिए, राष्ट्र जीवन के लिए देशवासी हम जिए। भाव अच्छे हों कहीं के वो यहाँ सारे बसें, विश्व संस्कृति भावना को आज का भारत रचें। सद्भावना के फल सदा हमने सब दिए, राष्ट्र जीवन के लिए देशवासी हम जिए। सारे जहां से जो सदा हर बात में अच्छा रहा, पक्का करें उसका कि जो यहाँ कच्चा रहा। भारत भवन यह सजे प्रण सभी उत्तम लिए, राष्ट्र जीवन के लिए देशवासी हम जिए। This short poem was written and sent to us for today's topic only by Mr. Paramatmanand Pandey Matwala. He is the president of Utho Jago Foundation. He is a journalist and a farmer. Thank you very much, Mr. Pandey, for writing the short poems every day on our each and every day's topic. Now, today's topic, role of youth in self-reliant India. Atmanirbhar Bharat, which translates to self-reliant India or self-sufficient India, is a term used by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, in relation to economic development in country. The term has been used in relation to making India a bigger and more important part of the global economy, pursuing policies that are efficient, competitive, and resilient, and being self-sustaining and self-generating. Atmanirbhar Bharat does not mean self-containment, isolating away from the world, or being protectionist. The first mention of this came in the form of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan or Self-Reliant India mission during the announcement of India's COVID-19 pandemic-related economic package on 12th May 2020. Subsequently, two more Atmanirbhar Bharat packages were announced on 12th October and 12th November 2020, bringing the total economic stimulus to rupees 29.87 lakhs crore, that is for 420 billion US dollars. The phrase has been used by the government in relation to the 2021 Union Budget of India. Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi has said, I quote, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not about being self-contained or being close to the world. It is about being self-sustaining and self-generating. We will pursue policies that promote efficiency, equity, and resilience, unquote. Its proponents have said that this self-reliant policy does not aim to be protectionist in nature. The Finance Minister, Ms. Sitharaman, said, self-reliant India does not mean cutting off from rest of the world. The Law and IT Minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, said that self-reliance does not mean isolating away from the world. Foreign direct investment is welcome, technology is welcome. Self-reliant India translates to being a bigger and more important part of the global economy. Further, in May 2020, Prime Minister Mr. Modi laid down the 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat, stated as economic infrastructure, technology-driven systems, vibrant demography, and demand. A total of 3 Atmanirbhar Bharat package worth rupees 29.87 lakh crore were announced by the government. On 12th May 2020, the Honorable Prime Minister announced an overall economic package worth rupees 20 lakhs crore, that is 280 billion US dollars. On 12th October 2020, the government announced rupees 73,000 crore, that is 10 billion US dollar worth economic stimulus package labeled as Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 2.0. On 12th November 2020, the government announced a rupees 2.65 lakh crore, that is 37 billion US dollar worth economic stimulus package labeled as Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan 3.0. As part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, numerous government decisions have taken place, such as changing the definition of MSMEs, boosting scope for private participation in numerous sectors, increasing FDI in the defense sector, and the vision has found support in many sectors such as solar manufacturers sector, etc. Few examples of initiatives towards self-reliance. The growth of India's personal protective equipment PPE sector from zero before March 2020 to 450,000 pieces a day by the beginning of July 2020 is considered as a fine example of self-reliant India. The PPP industry in India has become a rupees 10,000 crore US dollar 1.4 billion in 3 months, the second largest after China. The largest fund in the country worth rupees 21,000 crore, that is 2.9 billion US dollar, was set up by the IIT Alumni Council with the aim of supporting the mission towards self-reliance. In August 2020, the Defense Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, announced that the Defense Ministry is now ready for a big push to Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative by imposing an import embargo on 101 items in a staged manner over a period of 5 years. The Defense Production and Export Promotion Policy DPEPP 2020 and Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020 DAP also aims towards self-reliance. The youth in India, being the dominant community, determines the market trends and influences India's stature internationally. Hence, the road to self-reliance cannot be marked without conscious participation of youth. The conscious means deliberate market intervention at the individual level without getting tangled in the marketing of international brands. We are not calling for a boycott of foreign goods, but a mere food for thought regarding the utility, value, worthiness of any product we come across. We need to ask ourselves if we really need the product and whether it is or can be manufactured locally. Also, we need to recognize and learn about the variety of products being made in India, their uniqueness, and the cultural identity they carry. Indian handicrafts, textiles, Ayurveda, yoga, philosophy, and science, to name a few, are among the thousands of age-old and timeless practice that could not flourish as before since colonization, even being far superior to the modern age. Hence, not by a knee-jerk reaction, but by conscious participation, making more educated choice, the youth can embark on the journey towards a stronger, self-reliant Indian nation. And to discuss this very, very important topic, the role of youth in self-reliant India, we have a very, very important chief guest today with us. I would like to introduce you. He is Captain Ganesh Karnik. Captain Ganesh Karnik is the former member of Karnataka Legislative Council. He was the opposition chief whip of Karnataka Legislative Council. He is a state spokesman of BJP. He hails from an agricultural family. He obtained his degree in 1981 from University of Agricultural Sciences, College of Agriculture, Dharwad, Karnataka. He, after successfully clearing the Combined Defense Services examination and training at Officers Training Academy, Chennai, joined the Indian Army as a commissioned officer in the artillery regiment. He has served along the northern, eastern, and western borders of our country. He took voluntary release from Indian Army as captain in November 1988. He has been serving in schools and colleges managed by Nitte Education Trust in various capacities since 1992. He is the state president of Swadeshi Vijnana Andolana, Karnataka. He is member of Academic Council of MIT School of Government, Pune. He is president of Mani Krishna Swami Academy, Mangalore. He was the former deputy chairman, NRI Forum, Karnataka State, with a cabinet status from June 2008 to December 2012. He was the national co-convener of BJP Teachers Cell. He was former state convener overseas Friends of BJP. He was the former elected member of Mangalore University Senate, Syndicate and Finance Committee. He was the former member of Academic Council of Mangalore University, Academic Council of Karnataka State Law University, Hubli, Academic Council of Karnataka State Sanskrit University, former president of Public Relations Society of India, Mangalore, former member of various committees on women and child welfare, public account, petition, and others. Former state organizing secretary of Karnataka State Secondary Teachers Association. He has extensively traveled in USA, UK, Germany, China, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, UAE, Sultanate of Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait. His areas of interest are in social service, reading, music, Indian philosophy, tracking, welfare of children, and with multiple disabilities, agriculture, and rural economics. Welcome, Captain Ganesh Karthik, on our show.
Thank you.
Captain Ganesh Karthik, as you know that our Honorable Prime Minister, while announcing the first stimulus package, announced this Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is the self-reliance. Now, we would like to know the role of youth in self-reliant India. Captain Ganesh Karthik, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goyal, and thanks for this wonderful introduction, as well as the introduction about the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat as envisaged by our Honorable Prime Minister. And my greetings to all the members who have joined us on this webinar discussion on Atmanirbhar Bharat, especially with the youth in mind. When we talk of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I remembered a small verse from Bhagavad Gita, a sentence from a verse. It says, Atmanat Uddharet Atmanam, which is applicable to an individual, which is applicable to a community, which is applicable to I would say, a nation, and it is applicable to the entire mankind. What Lord Krishna says is, your development, your achieving something in life depends entirely on you. So I personally feel this Atmanirbhar concept as proposed by the Honorable Prime Minister lies in this age-old truth of our scriptures, which is ultimately you are responsible for your own well-being. Now, when I mention this to youth, what I refer to is, see, we are all a bundle of energy. We're all a bundle of all possibilities. We're all a bundle of lot of capacities or inherent capacities which is built in us. Like a smartphone that you have with the most of the youth in this country, a smartphone comes with lot of inbuilt applications. Most of the time, we don't even understand what are the inbuilt applications. You try to understand a few of them partly. So at the end of the day, even though you end up paying a huge amount of money, since we don't know what are the inbuilt applications available in the phone, we'll not be able to make use of it. Similarly, this smartphone, the particular individual, He also has come to this earth with lot of immense potentiality within. He has tremendous amount of capabilities. He has tremendous amount of capacity within him. So Swami Vivekananda says the purpose of education is to manifest that divinity which is already within us. He also goes on saying the purpose of any educational process is to manifest the perfection that is already within us. So Atmanirbhar Bharat as a concept, if it has to be successfully implemented, I think basically we all should understand that we all have tremendous amount of capabilities. That's the first concept. Why I am stressing on this is only because it is the youth of this country. In fact, people have been talking about India being the youngest country in the world with more than 60% people living in less than 35 age group. So that being a demographic dividend that our country is enjoying, how do we convert this huge human resource into quality human resource? This is one part. The second part is historically, culturally, and civilization wise. India is one country which believed that entire globe is a one family. We say Udara Charitanam tu Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. Because our elders envisaged that the well-being of the entire universe is the responsibility of each and every individual. And with that pretext, India has been marching ahead. Now, especially pertaining to youth, I will try to quote a couple of catchy slogans our Honorable Prime Minister has been talking about. He talks about Swachh Bharat. He talks about Skill India. He talks about Startup India. He talks about Smart India. He talks about Stand Up India. He talks about Make in India. So, what is the message in all this? Now, you look back and try to analyze past 70 years of achievements made by this country. I'm not going to negate the contributions made by the earlier governments in this country. What I'm trying to say, somewhere down the line, we get a feeling that India has not performed to its fullest capacity. That means in 70 years of free India, somewhere down the line, we all get a feeling that we have missed the bus. Democracy is meant for a very enlightened citizenry. When there is enlightened citizenry, there is enlightened leadership. When there is enlightened leadership, there is accountability, there is responsibility, there is answerability, which will bring in absolute professionalism. But when I look back, when most of us look back during the past 70 years, you look at the nation, you get a feeling, maybe I'm sounding a little more extra negative, just to drive home a point, I'm mentioning these facts. When you look back, you get a feeling that in less than 70 years, India has, as a nation has become loud talking, impractical, dishonest, corrupt, lazy, and an intolerant nation. Now, how do we come out of this? Just imagine, Honorable Prime Minister, after 68 years of free India, on the ramparts of Red Fort, on the 15th August 2014, the first address he addressed the nation as the Prime Minister. He talked about Swachh Bharat. People commented, is it the occasion? Is this the occasion for a Prime Minister to talk about Swachh Bharat? Is it the occasion to talk about rural toilets? But the reality was, in this country, after 70 years of free India, we did not have toilets for the poor people in the village. We did not have 100% electricity connectivity in the rural area. We did not have proper healthcare facility in the villages. We did not have a healthcare insurance in this country. So, keeping all this in mind, I think he started making the progress from the very grassroots level. In the same speech, he also mentioned a very true fact about the Indian mindset. He was trying to analyze the election results of 2014 parliamentary elections. And then he said, after 31 long years, in this country, people have voted for one particular party with the simple majority. It took 31 long years for people to decide to give a simple majority for one particular party. Otherwise, all those earlier 30 years, people were having fractions of different political parties coming together and forming the government. So he asked the question, why? Why after 31 long years, people have given a simple majority for a political party? He analyzed and said people wanted change. And then keeping this in mind, he was talking. Of course, if Goelji permits me, I will say a couple of sentences in Hindi. I'm a Bangalorean, so my Hindi may not be as pakka as Mr. Goelji, but I would like to quote from what he said. He says, पिछले 68 साल में, that is 2014, 68 years after independence. That's why he said 68 years. पिछले 68 साल में देश का जो मानसिकता है वो ऐसा बना है कि हर एक आदमी यही सोचता है कि इसमें मुझे क्या है, what is there in it for me. Everybody was selfish. Then he says, अगर इस देश को बदलना है, of course he keeps asking the entire crowd in front of the Red Fort and ask them. They all say, yes, this country has to change, बदलना है. That's what they shout. He says, अगर इस देश को बदलना है, उस सोच से हटके इसमें मुझे क्या है, that's the kind of mindset we had developed in 68 years, no? From that mindset, from इसमें मुझे क्या है, उससे हटके हम सब मिलके अगर ये सोचना शुरू करेंगे कि इसमें मेरा क्या है, what is my responsibility in building this nation. So Atmanirbharata, Atmanirbhar Bharat, is this message starts from his first speech from the Red Fort. He also gave a clarion call asking for nation first philosophy. In whatever I do, nation comes first. My dear young friends, you're all students. You'll have been blessed with this wonderful opportunity of accessing education. Now, why this education? What is it for? Why government is spending huge amount of money year after year? If I'm not wrong, this year's budget, 2021's budget, the envisaged investment in education is not less than 3.5 lakh crore rupees. That means country is investing huge amount of money on educating its children. But what is it for? Is it only to empower yourself to become a very selfish man? Is it only to empower you to become financially strong? Or is it to empower the entire nation? So as students, we consider this wonderful opportunity as a blessing, get exposed to good quality education, convert ourselves into quality human resource, and keeping nation first, keeping nation in the forefront, we contribute immensely towards the growth and development of the nation. So this is the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Actually, the pandemic, which is called as corona virus, which affected the entire universe, was considered to be a great calamity for the entire globe. But fortunately, we had such a leader who converted this into a global opportunity to take India to such great levels where the entire world is looking forward to India for medical assistance. There are more than 25 countries where we have shared our vaccination program free of cost. Now, Atmanirbhar Bharata is not only trade and commerce. Atmanirbhar Bharata is not only industrialization. Atmanirbhar Bharata is not just agriculture. Atmanirbhar Bharata is not only education. Atmanirbhar Bharata encompasses all these spheres of our growth and development. Mind you, I would like to share with you the status of defense in this country. After 73 years of free India, India depends to an extent of 80% as far as the defense procurements are concerned on imports. Just imagine, after 78 years, a country like India with 135 crore people plus, with ever hot borders on the eastern front and the western front has to depend to an extent of 80% on imports to take care of itself. Just imagine eventuality where some of the major countries who are supplying us, they decide not to supply. What will happen to our borders? This is where Atmanirbharta becomes very, very important. The whole world was depending on China for their imports. I would say 60%, 70%. China was contributing immensely towards global trade and commerce. India was importing in huge quantities from China. There was a big trade deficit between China and India in the China's favor. Now, can it continuously be like this? So, our Honorable Prime Minister has envisaged the positioning of India in the next 5 years, next 10 years, next 25 years by asking all of us to dream about a 5 trillion economy by 2025, a 10 trillion economy by 2030. Why? Because he wants to see India becoming the global hub of manufacture, India becoming the global leader in knowledge, India becoming the global leader as far as the electronic goods are concerned. So, keeping all this in mind, the word that he coined, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, is a clarion call given to each one of us to bring out the best from our personality. Vivekananda believed in a very famous saying in Sanskrit, it's a famous verse in Sanskrit. The English translation is, every soul is potentially divine. The purpose of life is to manifest that divinity. Every soul, each one of us, we are blessed with tremendous amount of, I would say, capacities. But have we been able to bring it out? Similarly, as a nation, we are built with tremendous amount of true potential, more so because of our rich heritage. So the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat envisages the possibilities of bringing out the best from our nation. Now, what is the role of youth? Now, youth is somebody who is young in mind besides age. I personally feel Mr. Lal Goyal is very young. I'm 60 plus now. I'm also very young now because we are all young in mind. The amount of enthusiasm Mr. Lal Goyal has exhibited during this COVID pandemic time in conducting all these webinar based seminars, inviting people, making them talk on important topics, trying to assist people who are involved in social service all these years. Who says he is old? He's very young. He's young at heart. He's so full of life. So he's so full of enthusiasm. So when I say young India, it refers to all Indians who are young at heart. It refers to all Indians who are enthusiastic about life. Now, message for those of you who are young in mind but also young in age is, take your present occupation seriously. If you are a student, become a good student. If you are a good student, become a better student. If you are a better student, become a committed student with a focus, and also try to become a good human being and a good citizen of this country. So, if you can decide on this, if you can dream on becoming a self-reliant individual, that is how you contribute towards, making Atma Bharat manifested in this country. This is one part. Secondly, can you explore the opportunities available in the entire country as well in the world? And can you prepare yourself to take up to that level, to take up to that challenge that we are facing? So, unless you become serious about yourself, unless you truly try to understand what are you from within, unless you try to understand, apply the concept of SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and the threat that you have, and then bring out the best in you, you will be contributing immensely towards making India an Atma Nirbhar Bharat. So this is basically concept. And last point is about the National Education Policy 2020, because this is most important for the students. We always preached and practiced that education came to India after Britishers came to this country. But I would like to remind you that even before the civilizations elsewhere in the world knew anything about civilization, India was having many universities, Vishwavidyanilayas, all around the country, starting from Afghanistan to Kerala, from Kutch to Kamrup in different parts of the country. And each university, Nalanda, Takshashila, Kashi, any university you want to take for that matter, where students used to come from all over the world. The Nalanda University, when it was invaded and the library was set on fire, the fire went on for months together. This is what we were taught. So that was the kind of education this country used to preach for the entire world. So don't believe that education came to us from Westerners. But the kind of education system that we have inherited has somehow ensured that, or somehow resulted in a fact that all our creativities, all our innovation, all our ideas of inquisitiveness has completely decimated. So, new education policy or national education policy 2020 envisages to ensure that as the child goes through the process of education, the curiosity, the innovation, the creativity, and the ability to find answers to many unanswered questions in the universe is brought out from the child's personality. So I would like to stress here for the younger generation, the National Education Policy 2020 envisages a kind of Atmanirbharata, which is self-centric, a kind of Atmanirbharata where Bharat is in the center of all the activities, so that we derive immensely from the rich heritage of our country's age-old civilizational values, and incorporate those values into a personality, so that Atmanirbhar Bharat becomes the Vishwavandya Vishwaguru Bharat, not to exploit the entire globe, but to live together happily. Atmanah mokshartham jagat hitaya was the principle that we all inherited. When we pray every day, we say, Loka samastaha sukhino bhavantu. With these enshrined eternal values in our scriptures, in our civilization, India is looking ahead to become a global leader where it takes everybody along. That is the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharata. Mr. Goelji gave me about 15 minutes. I've talked to. I would like to again thank Lal Goelji for this wonderful opportunity. Our Honorable Prime Minister has a dream for each one of us. It's a beautiful journey which will take all of us to beautiful destinations. My only request is understand the very concept of Atmanirbharata. Let's not talk only in terms of what is there in it for me. Instead, we shall start thinking about what can I do. So if we all can inculcate this value and internalize it, assimilate it to our system, the dream that Honorable Prime Minister has shared with all of us becomes all our dream, and India will achieve that great height which will make each one of us proud. Thank you very much. Thanks to Mr. Lal Goel for this wonderful opportunity. And after the discussion, I think if there are any questions, we can deliberate on that. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Captain Ganesh Karnik, for giving such a inspirational and motivational thoughts about Atmanirbhar Bharat. And what Captain Karnik has mentioned is to start with, he started with a verse of Gita, and then he mentioned that what is the real meaning of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this Atmanirbhar Bharat was first conceptualized and given the roadmap in the first speech on the rampart of Red Fort on 15th August 2014 by the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. And he says that Atmanirbhar Bharat means everyone has to become self-dependent. If you gain yourself, if you are doing something, if you are a student, if you are studying properly, if you are studying with commitment, then you will become a Atmanirbhar yourself. And if individuals become Atmanirbhar, then definitely the country will become the Atmanirbhar or the self-reliant. Similarly, what he says is that Atmanirbhar means that you have to understand that we are a very, very old culture, heritage. We are one of the oldest rather. And our education, universities are very, very old. And in that, whether it's Taxila or Nalanda or Kashi, according to Captain Karnik, all the students, many of the students comes from across the world to study. And that was our culture. So today we have to regain our position. It can be regained if we become a good, better, or committed student if we are studying. Similarly, he says that in the production of the defense equipments, India is totally depending on the foreign suppliers and up to the extent of 80%. But now with this Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India, our productions have started in India. Many, as I have read in my report also, that many restrictions have been put for those equipments which are earlier imported freely to India. So until unless we will not do that, cannot be a global leader. And to become a global leader, everyone has to understand that we have to become a self-reliant. Whether it's, and he has also given all the slogans given by Honorable Prime Minister, whether it's Swachh Bharat, Make in India, Skill India, Smart India, etc., etc. So he says that if we will adopt those positive things, positive vibes in ourselves, and if we will see that if we will become Atmanirbhar, then we will definitely become, we will make our country total Atmanirbhar, self-reliant country, and we will be the global leader of the world. Thank you very much, Captain Ganesh Karnik, for giving such a beautiful thoughts. Now I understand why sometimes, although to be very frank, I'm very afraid to call the politicians on our show, but I know Captain Karnik personally, and I know that he's a thinker, he's a philosopher first, then a politician. Like Plato has thought he has mentioned, he imagined a thing, that philosopher king. I consider Captain Ganesh Karnik in that category, and a country requires such type of politicians who are over and above the politics. And I have seen Captain Karnik in that way. Thank you very much, Captain Karnik, for giving such a good thoughts today.
Thank you.
Now I would like to invite my young guest and a youth guest. My first youth guest is Mr. Jopin Phillips Thomas. Mr. Jopin Phillips Thomas, please unmute yourself.
Yes, hi.
Please introduce yourself and give a thought about the topic, which you have already heard our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik, had spoken. Now we would like to know from you the role of youth in self-reliant India. Mr. Jopin Philip Thomas, please.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Goel, for giving me such a wonderful platform to interact our viewpoints in terms of self-reliant India and how we can contribute as a youth to this. And thank you once again in introducing us to such a magnificent person, Mr. Ganesh.
Thank you.
It was nice listening to you, Mr. Ganesh.
Thank you, sir.
And yes, I can collaborate with a few of the thoughts that you have and what our government is looking at, along with the thoughts that I have also procured for myself.
Mr. Thomas, please introduce yourself first.
Yeah, sure. Moving on, so myself, my complete name is Jopin Philip Thomas, and I am based at Bangalore, and I currently work with an MNC as a business analyst and in the domains of banking and health. My roots are from Kerala, but then I've been here and there, like say from UP to, I did my education completely in all over South India. So I've been here and there for quite a while. So, so coming to what exactly I have in my mind in terms of going forward, exactly how we can be much more effectively be a self-reliant is, I have three key important points. First is being aware of the need of the hour. Being aware of the need of the hour. Where exactly? Why? What is the need for us to go local? I would say yes. In 2014, during COVID pandemic, only we had this thought. But I would say that we should have had this thought at least in 1991 when India was introduced to a global market, where it was a startup for everyone, in fact. and we could have achieved a lot. But then at least now, we're glad that at least now at this point, 30 odd years later, at least we are speaking of this, in which we have to understand where exactly we can hit in terms of what exactly is needed. I can give an example. 10, 20 years back, when Tata came up with a car called Indica, it was lot spoken of and all that. And later on, when other brands, outside brand came into India, we started comparing it as, no, the quality is not great, the engine is not reliable, or something or the other. But today when we see a Tata car, I think the perceptions are changing. You can envisage whatever you want in a younger generation in terms of what we want: comfort, safety, technology, everything. So that means a company like Tata, if a company Tata can change the mindset in terms of, okay, this is what exactly we have to bring in, the quality that we have to bring in, the reliability that we have to bring in. People should feel proud of my product. Probably 10 years, 15 years down, previously, this was not the idea. If you own a Tata car, people will go, okay, you have a Tata car, I have a Hyundai, I have a Benz, I have a BMW. But today, when I say that I'm owning a Tata car, it's a pride. Why it is? First thing, you understand how we have to envisage it. Basically, we have to understand what is the need of the hour, how we can procure it. We had to wait for months to get something, say, in the days where a good quality car or any of that such kind of product, we had to always rely on an outer brand, foreign brand. But right now we have it in our India. And why we have to produce in India is another question. As it was rightly put out, during our COVID, we had this struggling situation where, like, at medical personals had to go through getting masks, we getting PPE kit, getting other items and particulars in terms of preventing themselves and, to protect themselves to fight this pandemic. In this kind of scenario, we understood that we have to be in a position where we have to produce these products for ourselves, and not only for ourselves but to other countries we can produce. So this thought is completely have given us to prioritize what exactly we can do. Another one is what all you can produce in India, apart from not only the medical products, but then you have something in agriculture, you have manufacturing and textiles, medicines especially. These are the few things that we have to be aware. So what is the key need of the hour? We have to understand what exactly to be produced, why we have to produce it, and how to produce it. These are the key idea that we have to envisage in terms of ascertaining how to go in terms of self-reliant India. Now, all this is on a peripheral level. How to achieve this? First and foremost thing is, my second point rather, is ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Let me reiterate, we have to have an ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. As we said, we have this mindset, okay, sab chalta hai. I don't know what is in for me if I do something, just to put an extra effort to do something good, or if it is nothing for me, then I don't have to do it. This is the actual mentality. We have to face the facts, but this we have to change. We have to have the agility. So say I'm an engineer, probably I'm an engineer, 4 years I've done it, but then tomorrow my need is on something else, where I can use that particular skill, and probably I can upskill myself with a different skill set, so that I can benefit the society, and through society I can benefit myself. This should be our motto. It's not like, what, okay, fine, I've studied in IITs or IIMs or anywhere in a premium college, I've got a job, yes, I'm getting 10 LPA as a package, okay, I'm happy. No, that should not be the motto. My motto should be my education, how I can transform another person. This should be, and apart from that, my education, how I can make into a product in terms of how I can create something, innovate something for my own country. We have so much of abundance of opportunities in our country itself. We are not able to tap it. That is our problem, or rather we are not seeing it, even though it is in front of us. One of them are this particular mobile that we use right now. As rightly put out over there, We don't have an Indian brand that we can say 100% is been from the scratch, has been built in India. We don't have it. We don't have quite a few things. I know the specs that I'm wearing right now. The main component is coming from outside. Why don't we create it? The textile, basically, probably the shirt is just manufactured in India, but the material is been stuck, like as in there's a gluing part that happens. So I have a textile background. My family is into the textile business, so I'm
Please be
aware.
brief.
Sure. So these are the few concerns. Third major thing, impact of skills and knowledge, helping others to grow. Basically, sabke saath sabka vikas. How we understand that? How we? I've already addressed this scenario where like it's not me, but through others also we try to grow. Every skill you may not be, I cannot achieve or procure every skill, but if we can collaborate with people and get this done, then we are good to go. We should take good examples from others. Like I would say at some point we say, oh, China is doing that, China is doing this, but I would say take certain points from them. They were able to manage to produce for the globe. I would say we can also do that too. If not, we are not a China, but we can be a better India. So I'll just conclude with that.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jopin Phillips Thomas, for giving your thought. And you rightly said about that India, the time is there that we must produce everything, and now we are feeling proud on it. And you have given the example of one car manufacturer, Tata's. Yes, we are feeling proud. Today, all over the world, the maximum capacity to produce the vaccine is with the Indian company. And the managing director, the CEO of the company is a youth, Mr.
Yes.
Poonawalla. So
Poonawalla,
when we have that type of role models with us, and today, as our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik has mentioned, that our country is giving free of cost the vaccines to more than 25 countries. Now,
true.
Now one has to imagine that the potential youth have today to do something. I still remember when Mr. Poonawalla was asked, he says that I spoke to my father and I told him that I am going to take a risk. I am putting so much money. Let's see what is going to happen. And today, his risk, whatsoever he has taken, his dashingness, his timely action has taken the very, I must say, the leading step, where the country has come up like anything. And from 1st of March, the vaccination is going to open for a persons like me. I will not say, I don't know whether Captain Ganesh Karnik comes under the senior citizen or not, but definitely for me. Now, this is the step which youths can take, because you have energy, you have a thinking power, risk-taking capacity. If you people will come forward, then the country will become self-reliant or Atmanirbhar very soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Jopin Phillips Thomas, for giving your thoughts. Now, I would like to invite my next youth guest, and he is Mr. Nanna Karthik. Mr. Karthik, please unmute yourself. Mr. Karthik, you have heard our chief guest, Mr. Captain Ganesh Karnik, as well as earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in self-reliant India. Mr. Nanna Karthik, please.
Yeah, hi. Very good morning. And thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Lal Goel. And thank you, Ganesh Karnik, for the wonderful speech and the wonderful thought. Actually, the way you giving to us, actually, it is very, very great and very great to hear. And I just wanted to start. I'm a banker. I did my MBA from Nasim Monge Institute of Management Studies. And I'm working with a corporate bank. I'm working in a corporate banking with the private sector banking from corporate Kotak Mahindra Bank. So here my thought process, I just wanted to start with some facts and figures. The average Indian population age is by 2022, it is 28. So we have much youth population compared to other countries, whereas China is 37 and USA is 45. So, and I can say from this perspective, this is the best decade what we have under the leadership of one of the greatest leadership what we have. So 2020 to 2030 is the best decade of Indian economy in terms of Atmanirbhar. There are many initiatives that has been taken care. And the other thing is, I want to tell you one more facts and figure. The labor force in India, men's versus female, the men's is 76% and the female is 19.5%. So here there is a large trade deficit, large trade gap between the men force and women workforce. So if the women workforce we can increase it to 50%, there are a lot many opportunities. There are a lot many workforce also will improve. So even lot of government initiatives are already been taken care of. So these are the two facts and figures I just pointed. So what I want to tell is the top Indian imports is mainly petrol, crude oil. So 32% of our total imports is only for the crude oil and their allied products. So mainly the purpose of the crude oil is mainly into our logistics and our heavy machinery industries and some other parts. So in India, what we are thinking of in Atmanirbhar means, so we are using the more imports to run our economy. So if you change our economy style, the way of using our things, if you implement electrical vehicles, our India will come up with a lot of EVs. So government has took initiatives on the EVs, but we can see a lot of opportunities in the EVs in the manufacturing sectors as a youth of India. So we can EV starts with the chemicals. Chemicals also we are importing around. This is the 8th or 9th imports. Around 4% of our economy of the chemicals is from the foreign countries. We are dependent on so much on the chemicals also. So I can sense it. Wherever there is opportunity, wherever there is an innovation, there is a change of the economy, there is an opportunity in terms of manufacturing for a youth. So we can capitalize that opportunity and we can increase. We can invest on the manufacturing of those industries, and we can improve the economy. And currently, as of now, as Sir said, Ganesh sir said, 80%, 100% of their imports is into defense sector, into heavy machinery, and all the things are 100% is previously. Now it is almost reduced to more than 50%. India is a self-reliant for the manufacturing of the heavy machineries and all the things. So wherever there is a lot of suppose in terms of machineries in the electronics, India is one of the major imports in terms of electronics, in terms of mobiles, in terms of all the electronics, and in terms of heavy machinery. Almost 20% of our spending in terms of electronics and heavy machinery or in our GDP. So we can concentrate on those sectors and we can build a better nation. We can contribute to that sectors. And I can tell you my thought process, how you develop in terms of entrepreneurship. So India is very famous once a time for textiles, for handicrafts, for yoga, for meditation. So we have so many inherents we have from, if you go back to past, we have so many Ayurvedic, these are so many what I call so many patents or so many specialized way of Indian this thing. So we can as a youth we can concentrate on those things, how to build a revenue, how to build a model out of it to get a more revenue, to can sell into the foreign countries. Like if you say Bhagavad Gita, it is originated from India. So you develop a course in Bhagavad Gita in the there are a lot of e-education is being developing. So you design a Bhagavad Gita in a way that people can attract from the foreign countries. You can sell it to the foreign countries. In that way, you can decrease the deficit of the GDP. So where you are good at, you can sell it to other countries. There you can get a more revenue out of from other countries, and it can reduce the GDP gap. So where I'm sensing where we are good at, we can develop on those parameters. Where we are not good at, we can increase our potential in those parameters. We are in manufacturing, in heavy machinery manufacturing, we cannot good at in next 5 years because it has to be improved over a period of time. So where we are good at in terms of Bhagavad Gita, in terms of yoga, in terms of meditation, in terms of textiles, in terms of handicrafts, those you can show it to the world, and you can sell it off, and you can increase our GDP, and you can decrease the total GDP deficit of India. So that is what Atmanirbhar. So where you everything you see as an opportunity, everything you see opportunity. And right now we are in very good situation. We are very much opportunist. We are in a position, the government is creating opportunities and we have to capitalize on it. So as a youth, we have to capitalize the opportunities what the government is providing and what we have to capitalize on it. So that's it for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karthik, for giving your thoughts. And as you have mentioned about the IIT, IIMs, etc., yes, now the new education or National Education Policy 2020 allows everyone to study multiple exit, multiple entry, and then you have a choice. If you think that no, engineering is not good, you can switch over to another discipline. And as you mentioned about the youth, why not? See, Sabir Bhatia, who was the founder of Hotmail, was an Indo-American person. But the problem in India is only one, that we should have fire in belly. If you have a fire in belly, that youth is having fire in belly, then we can do wonders. Many Indians who have achieved lots of things when they have gone out. Why? They can do it here also. But only thing is that type of commitment, which I'm sure with the new incentives which our Honorable Prime Minister has given under the Atmanirbhar Bharat, if the youths will take that opportunity and try to do something more innovative, like I have given the example of Mr. Poonawalla, we can very well achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you very much, Mr. Karthik, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next youth guest, and she is Miss P. Vedika Somaya. Miss P. Vedika Somaya, please unmute yourself. And Miss P. Vedika Somaya, you have heard our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik, as well as earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in self-reliant India. Miss P. Vedika Somaya, please.
A very good morning, and thank you so much, Mr. Lal Goyal, for this opportunity, and Captain Ganesh Karnik for enlightening us with your words. It was indeed an honor to listen to you. And now I'm from Roshni Nilaya. I'm doing my first year. I'm studying BA, and I'm doing this for the first time actually. And so I will put out my view about self-reliant India and the role the youth play in this. So as we all know, this is an initiative to promote India, like to buy more products which are made in India, so that all the artists who are there in our country, all the forgotten art and all the people who would put out their skills, get back they get back their work, and we can also promote our culture through this. The youth in our country, 34% of the people in our country are the youth. And as we all know, the youth have a very young mind, and their mind is always very creative, and it is very influensive also. So if there's anything that the youth can do, they can influence very soon, and they can put an impact on the people also. So if you take the fashion industry for an example, we import most of our materials from abroad, and we don't use the resources which are present in our country to the fullest. For example, the silk, we import silk too, though we have Ramnagar, which is close to Bangalore, situated in Karnataka, which produces quality silk, yet people still believe in importing it. And all these designers and all the big people who are in the fashion industry, they too look into importing and getting all their products from abroad, instead of uh, helping the rural people who have been continuing this thing for a really long time. And this way the youth can actually influence people, like they can indulge in avoiding Western culture and Western tradition, and maybe they could start looking into more places where the Indian culture and more Indian products would be put out in the market, and they can adapt to using more goods which are produced in our country itself. um, Also the education system, or like how sir said, if you're a student, you should pursue well in that field. The same way, any field that we put our feet into, or we put our feet into, we should always make sure that we give it our best in that field. And if we do it with all our determination and with all our heart and soul, then I think we can actually bring about a real change. And yeah, I think we should just try to bring back what's been forgotten and try to look into what is there in our country, and try to promote it and make sure that it flourishes. And yeah, I think that way we could move towards what our prime minister has actually been visioning for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vedika, for giving your views. And although you mentioned that's your first time you are coming on live television, I'm sure now you will come frequently. And that is the main aim, and our endeavor is to enlighten even the youth. Because if the youth is enlightened, if youth take active part, then the Atmanirbhar Bharat will not be a dream. And as you have mentioned about the silk, I can tell you abroad and the top malls, whatsoever we are buying there, if we go anywhere in USA and Europe, we will find that although they are selling on their own brand, but it is mentioned somewhere made in India. So in India, Indian silk is going abroad, but you rightly said the Indian manufacturers wants to do something and they wants to import from outside. That is not correct. But for that, the youth have to come forward and take a pledge that we will use only the Make in India products, like what in 1942, when there was a movement of Quit India, what Mahatma Gandhi said, Videshi Bahishkar, the boycott the foreign goods. So if the youth will decide not to boycott, but youth will decide we will use our own produced thing, definitely we will be self-reliant or the Atmanirbhar soon. Thank you very much, Ms. Vedika Somaiya, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Ms. Shreya Singh. Ms. Shreya Singh, I will just see if she is there. Are you there, Ms. Shreya Singh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are there. Ms. Shreya Singh, you have already heard our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik, as well as earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in self-reliant India. Ms. Shreya Singh, please.
Yes, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity that I can speak something on role of youth in self-reliant India. And this is my first live conference. So I'm very glad to have this opportunity. So self-reliant, this is basically...
Ms. Singh, please introduce yourself first.
Yeah. So my name is Shreya Singh and I'm born and brought up in Devariya, Uttar Pradesh, which is a small town famous for places of temple. And currently I'm pursuing my MBA from ICFI Business School, Hyderabad. So coming on to the topic, self-reliant, which basically means depending on yourself for fulfilling your needs. Basically, we can say that growing your own foods to satisfy your desires and satisfy your hunger. So we as a youth plays a very important part to make India self-reliant. So what personally believe is that to make ourselves self-reliant, the change should come from within. Like as we see students, they are not too much confident to choose the subjects of their choice. Like I think that we as a youth have a creative and innovative mind, but when it is applied on a very accurate way, like if I am interested to take economics as my subject, then my mind will work properly in that particular subject only. So first we should be self-reliant in choosing our career goals. Then only we can make our nation change as a whole. Then we as a youth have various ideas. First of all, I think participation in the growth of the country. Like we can say that if we are earning something, we should contribute a part of it in our economy to make a growth in our country. Like our honorable prime minister has given us a lot of opportunity to make vocal for local, that is manufacturing the products in our own country. and promoting the local entrepreneurs. This is very important because we have a creative mind, and just the thing is that we have been served by other countries a lot. Like China is importing a lot of things to India, exporting a lot of things to India. So we are just dependent on them, and we are not willing to work on ourselves. But once we are starting to, like work on ourselves, doing much of labor, then we can, I think, that turn our country to be much more self-reliant and make India a very good exporter as compared to the importer. Now, I won't completely say that we should boycott foreign goods, as Sir Lal also said that it depends that we should first of all find out that what are the major requirements that we need. Then only we should think of importing something from other countries. And we need to recognize and learn about the variety of products that are being made in India. And because now we are using social media on a very broad basis, digital marketing is like a trending topic nowadays. So the old handicrafts, the Ayurvedic stuffs that we are seeing, we should promote them globally on a digital platform, so that even foreigners will like to invest in our country. They will like to buy our products, because obviously our ancient crafts are much more creative as compared to now what are being made. Plus, during the COVID scenarios, as we can see, that we realized the need of PPE kits, because the amount of PPE kits with us was very less in number. Then we found that we have a scarcity of PPE kits, but we do have raw materials for that. This is where India took a first step in helping a country as a whole. Like, it stood out. We made a much more amount of PPE kits compared to other countries. Then coming on to vaccines, we were the first who came out with the vaccines. So this means that we have talent, we have innovative minds, we have creative minds. It's just that we are somewhat hesitating to take a step forward to promote it. So hence, it's not a knee-jerk reaction, but of course, a slow process that we can achieve a self-reliant India. And also, I feel that in India, we have a lot of raw materials. That too, most of the raw materials come from agriculture. So we can make a best use of agricultural raw materials to manufacture goods in our country, as compared to depending on others. Plus, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi said in one of his speech of Samitva that it was a Swamitva, which means ownership. That means rural India is now taking a lot of a step forward in order to make India self-reliant. So even our Prime Minister is focusing, and they are coming up with various schemes so that rural India can move forward and contribute a lot of their resources in contribution of our self-reliant India. Then last but not the least, I would like to end my views by saying a verse, that is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashvidu Khabhagvate, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So at the end, I believe that the main motto of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India is to make every person happy. And happiness is something that we should not depend on others. We can grow our own fruits, our own seeds to become happy. And in this way, being united, we can be a self-reliant India. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shreya Singh. And as you mentioned, it's your first, but I feel that you are quite experienced to speak on the public front, and you must go for something which you like, because if youth will take such type of initiative like you are taking, I'm sure the future of India is in safe hands. Not only the future, rather the present and the future, both are in the safe hands. Thank you very much, Ms. Singh, for giving your views. Now I would like to move to my next youth guest, and she is Ms. Thea Matthais. Ms. Thea Matthais, you have heard our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik, as well as all the earlier youth guests. Now we would like to know from you your views on the role of youth in self-reliant India. Ms. Thea Matthais, please. First, you introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Tia Matthias, and I represent the School of Social Work, Roshni Nilaya, Mangalore, Karnataka. So I'm doing my second year in BA Psychology, Criminology, English Literature, and French. So this is also my first time speaking on a platform like this, and it is such an experience, and I'm so glad to be given this opportunity. Okay, so getting on to the topic. What does being self-reliant mean? So when I first looked into the definition, it basically means to be able to fend for yourself without having to depend on another person or your neighbors, right? So India had to discover this the hard way when we were faced with a pandemic, that we needed to be able to depend on ourselves and not on our neighbors for our goods. So India, although we had our independence, and it's been 70 years, almost 70 years since we had our independence, it took an entire pandemic for us to realize that we need to be self-reliant and not dependent on other countries for our products. So what is the role of the youth in all of this? So before I get into that, I would like to quote Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. So he said, give the youth a proper environment, motivate them, extend them the support they need. Each one of them has an infinite source of energy and they will deliver. So he is he is the founder of Reliance company, and and the company stands in the world's top 100 companies on the Fortune Global 500 list. So that is such a proud moment for us as Indians. And when it comes to the youth, now speaking from personal experience, a lot of the guests have spoken about various policies and various technicalities revolving around this initiative. So when it comes to, I would like to talk about the reality and the practicality that I have been personally seeing. So as soon as we're done with a certain degree of education, say we're done with our second PU or we're done with graduation, we immediately have thoughts that we need to move abroad and we need to settle there. Most of us, and especially me, including myself and my peers, we all have plans to go abroad and settle there. So why is that so? Why do we have this idea that we need to go abroad and settle instead of being able to do the same in our own country? So the first thing that comes to my mind is the level of education, opportunities, the standard of living that you get provided, and the currency value. So all of these factors are included in why the youth would decide to go abroad instead of doing their own work in India. So what could we do in order for the youth to stay back in India and contribute to the nation? Because most of the educated youth that I personally know of, and even if we go to statistics, most of them decide that they need to go abroad because there they get more opportunities, and then they decide to contribute to that country instead of being able to contribute to our own country. So in order for the Indian youth to be able to contribute for our own country, we need to be able to we need to have that amount of opportunities, and we need to be able to pursue whatever we like. So there is this stigma in our society that everyone needs to be an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor. So now slowly that stigma has been, we're getting rid of it slowly, eventually. And because of the new education policy, we have the freedom to choose between various fields. And we need to know that in order for India to develop as a whole, we don't need only engineers, lawyers, or we don't need everyone in one sector. We need everyone from various sectors. So we need to encourage this kind of, like if anyone wants to do something in agriculture, it shouldn't be seen as something low or something demeaning when you compare it to something as engineering. Everything needs to be seen equally. For example, I personally have cousins who live in Sweden, and they want to pursue agriculture, and they have been given so many opportunities and way early in life. When the youth in India come to a particular age, they're still not able to decide what they want to pursue. So in order for them to be able to realize that probably I would like to do this or that, they need to be given a taste of everything. So in order to, so they would understand that, you know, maybe I like to go in this field. And only when you truly know that you want to do something in a particular field, that is when you'll be able to completely contribute, right? Okay, and so the second thing that I like to talk
about. Please be brief.
The second thing that I'd like to talk about is entrepreneurship. So with all of now with the ban of various Chinese apps like Shein and WeChat and TikTok, and so much of the youth, we felt this really badly because we were so reliant on all of these apps. But I noticed that immediately after the ban of these apps, that there has been such a rise in Instagram thrift stores. So, and this has all been initiated by the youth. So, around the age of 18 to 25, they have started these thrift stores. So, I would like to conclude by saying that yes.
Okay.
So the youth have played a lot of importance, and only with the necessity there comes opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Tia. And as earlier I said, it's the first time, but it's not going to be the last time. You all have potential. All youths have potential. Youth have potential to speak in public, and once you will start speaking, your more and more thoughts will come. Thank you very much, Ms. Tia Matthais, for giving your views. Now again, I am going to Ms. Minj. Are you? Please unmute yourself. Ms. Minj, please unmute yourself. Yes, please speak. No, I think some technical hitch. No problem. We will take you in the next program. Definitely see to it that there should not be such type of problem next time. Thank you very much, Ms. Minj. I'm sorry, but we have to go. We have to just, because we can't hear you, and it's a live telecast. Now I would like to go back to our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik. Captain Karnik, please unmute yourself. You have heard all the youths who have spoken so much about today's topic on the self-reliant. Yeah, now we would like to know from you what you thought about this today's media conference and the views which has been expressed by the youth.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Actually, I must thank you more profusely because after this Atmanirbhar Bharat, you have exposed me to the young minds. I never knew that India's young mind is looking forward to this concept called Atmanirbhar Bharat in such a positive way. Maybe over the years, both at home and in institutions, especially the academia, we have not looked at the young people from their perspective. We always thought that what we are doing is good for them. Like parental, we are looking at it without understanding what is that they want. So you have given me an opportunity where I could gather from all the participants that yes, they are looking forward to the dreams in their eyes. This is one part. Secondly, the kind of flexibility they are looking forward to, the kind of entrepreneurship they are looking forward to, and their willingness to become part of this whole process of India standing on her own legs with her merit, which has enthused them, is a very, very positive outcome of this entire process. Tell me, who doesn't feel proud when you say, I'm an Indian? But we need to create that environment. I think it was the last participant, if I'm not wrong, Tia Matthais, who talked about, you know, giving an opportunity for the entrepreneurship, which is very, very important. So I think our Honorable Prime Minister is on the right track to enthuse the entire nation so that India's strength, India's inherent capacities, India's bundle of talent among the youth, being a young country, is going to be brought out. I don't use the word exploited. It's going to be brought out in a way that our another panelist, Vedika Somaya, she quoted that Swasti mantra of all times. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, bhavantu, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kastit dukkha bhag bhave. That's what she said. So quoting from her speech, I would like to say, this used to be the age-old principle of the Indian civilization, where they looked at the entire globe as a family. So I think in the Atmanirbhar Bharat, there is tremendous opportunities available for the young people to contribute. But as all of them expressed, how do you convert this opportunity into an event, into an enterprise, into something which can make them stand on their own legs? Look at the global scenario. the whole world is aging, especially the advanced countries or the developed countries. They're aging so fast. Whole world is looking forward to quality human resource of younger generation. Whole world is looking forward to India, its age-old traditional values to be imbibed. People believed in a concept of consumerism, and you have seen what has happened in the world by exploiting the nature beyond a certain degree. So India can be an example. India can be somebody who is a knowledge bank for people to learn to live with nature. So from this perspective, the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I personally am convinced today that the young India has taken it very positively. All the six participants who have contributed today have immensely have confidence in this concept, and they're looking forward to India changing from what it used to be 70 years ago and what it is going to be in the next 25 years. I must thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Ganesh Karnik, for giving your views and the concluding remarks. And very rightly said, all the youth today in India, they want that their name, the country's name should, and the country's tackler should fly very, very high. And it is only possible if we are self-reliant, if we are Atmanirbhar. Because if we are Atmanirbhar, definitely wherever we go in the world, we feel proud to say that we are from India. And we have seen the changes, and this youth, new generation, the youth, they are really ready to work hard, to think and to come out with the innovatives so that they can change the country's perception, which were not there earlier in the eyes of some foreigners or the Western people, but now it is changing. And I'm sure with the participation of this youth who are there, they can do. Miss Minj, can you speak anything now? Just speak. I'm giving you one more chance to you. I have 1 minute left. No, sorry, some problem is there. So you have seen today, viewers, that how the youth of India has shown that they are ready to be Atmanirbhar. And once they are Atmanirbhar, definitely their day is not far when the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, will fulfill that Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this is the role of the youth, and which they are playing, which today's those who have participated here and those who are viewing our show. I'm sure everybody will agree, as our chief guest, Captain Ganesh Karnik, has mentioned, that the day is not far when India will be the global leader, because the youth are very vibrant. They are ready to take over. Only my request to the youth is, please participate in the politics also. You are 65%. Unfortunately, the first parliament, again, I am repeating this show also, in the first parliament, that is 1952, we were having MPs below 45 years, 26%. And this parliament, current parliament, which has constituted in 2019, only 12% MPs below 45 years of age. So if you will start participating, you will be the policy maker tomorrow, and definitely you will think more, as our chief guest has mentioned, that your brain works far better than us, the senior citizens. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Captain Ganesh Karnik. And today's program is live telecasted on V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarocar News, as well as it was shown live on YouTube and Facebook. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic. And tomorrow our topic is primary education, problems and prospects. And our participants are, the panelists are Dr. Ruxana. She is a child psychologist, teacher's trainer, life coach, motivational speaker from Mangalore. Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha is the civil service coach. He is the main director of Discourse Academy, Delhi. Ms. Neeraj Mathuria, she is the headmistress of primary school, Bad Mathura. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Captain Ganesh Karnik, for joining us. And thank you all our youth guests who have joined and contributed immensely for today's program. And thank you all viewers. I'm sure today's program has enlightened you all, and definitely we all will take active participation so that our country will become Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you all. Thank you very much.